Goodness me, what have I got here? Well, oh dear, long story. However, I've had a lovely gift from a gentleman called David Carr, who's a part of the BrewTube community on Facebook, and he very kindly sent me a big box, and let me show you what I've got in it. I've got this. Hey, what you reckon to that? And it's to replace this. So I think it's a bit posher, and it should do a proper job. So let's have a look what I can do with this said gift. So this is my original concept. It's very complicated down here. Well, I think so anyway. Basically, this is my hot liquor tank, and all these bits of piping are for a reason, actually. Hopefully there would be. It's to recirculate. This pipe recirculates. I've done other videos about it. Recirculates the water, disturbs the water if you like, and it stops there being any like dead spots around the Hermes coil. So sometimes it can get a little bit cool around the Hermes coil if the water's not moving about. So that's the reason. Now, I've had these lovely fittings from David, and that means drilling out another hole. So that filled me with horror, drilling holes. So let me give you a bit of idea of my thought process. Now, as you can see, I've got three T-urns. They're the, what the hell they're called? I forget what they're called. Bilko. Anyway, I bought them from Amazon one at a time as I could afford them, and they're about £90 each, which is quite a lot of money for me. In fact, a hell of a lot of money for me. Burko. I'm a Burko. That's what these are, Burkos. And what they've got, which I really like, is that they've got the heating element underneath the flat bit at the bottom, if you know what I mean. And each of them has got a hole to put the T-urn tap in. One hole in each of these quite expensive T-urns. Now, the thing that I like about it is, because I suppose I could have just bought a normal boiling pot, if you like, and put heating elements in, etc. But what I wanted to do, because I'm fearful that at some stage one of the elements is going to go, and I only used two of the elements really. The one in the HLT, which heats up the Hermes coil and heats up the mash tun, so there's no heater element working in that one. Well, it does work, but I don't have it on. And then the other one is my boiler, which I obviously have to use the heater element to boil the wort. So what am I whittling on about? The thing is, I've got a few reasons why I'm not too keen on drilling the hole, or a hole, or two holes in any of these Burko units. Number one is that at any time, if anything goes wrong, I can swap them about because they're identical. There's one hole. The only holes I've drilled is in the lid. I've drilled some in that one. 1, 2, 3 holes in the lid of that. I've drilled one hole in this one and no holes in that one. So if anything went wrong with any of the Burkos, if I'd just bought it within the year, I've had them all over a year now, but it doesn't invalidate the warranty. So therefore I could just swap the lid back to which one was not working correctly, send it back, and it would look like it had not been touched, not drilled or anything. I could just put the old tap on that I received with the tea urn. That was number one. Number two, stainless steel is so bloody hard to drill. It's an absolute nightmare, and you have to have special drills to do it, either tungsten drill bits or whatever, or cutters. There's cutters that you can get. There's the what do they call them, pyramid type cutters, and the cheapest one I've seen is about £10. So if I've got to drill an hole in one of these tea urns, that hole has cost me £10, unless of course I do more than one, and it's diminishing return, I guess. The more you do, the less it costs, but at the moment I've only got to drill one, maybe two holes, so that is a £5 per hole, which seems quite expensive. Number three is the actual inlet where the tap goes on these tea urns. It's not just a drilled hole, it's a drilled hole, but the metal is flat. There's no curvature on the metal where the hole is, so therefore it's easier for it to seal. And I have these off on a regular basis, in fact every time I do a brew, and wash everything out, so it's easy to go on and off, unlike if it's on a curve. There's likely to be problems where I'm going to get leaking, and the more holes you get, the more chance of leakage you've got. So that's another reason that I don't particularly want to drill an hole in any of these buckets. So I've got to get my thinking head on, because what I want to do is utilise David's gift as much as I can, without drilling any holes in any of my expensive tea urns. I don't know about you, but I've got all manner of crap in my shed, my brew shed, and this is me plumbing malarkey. And what I thought I'd do is, I've taken the hose pipe off here, as you can see, and I'm thinking of just cutting that down and whacking a fitting, one of these, where I don't know what they're called, screw-in fittings or whatever. And I've never had any problem with these, with the washer and the nuts and the whatsits. And I take them to bits on a regular basis. I take all my pipes and things off, and every time, and I've been doing this for a couple of years now, and I've never had any issues with leaks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this down a bit. I'm going to find something like one of these without a T, and I'm going to whack it on the top there. So I'm going to cut that down for a start, and if all else fails, I've noticed in here I've got an on-off thingy doofer. Me being a plumber knows all these things, so at least I can get that on and then whack the tube straight up there. And also, I guess I can switch it on and off if there's a problem. Okay, so my next job is I'm going to utilise the pipe up here, and I'm going to save this, have a word with David if I don't need it, to see if he wants it back, or if he doesn't want it back, I'll open it up for any other brew tubers who feel they could do with something like this, and I'll post it to them if that's okay with David. But obviously I've got to let David know whether he wants it back or not. So I'm going to take this off and place it on this that I've set up now, look. Now I suppose it looks a bit Heath Robinson, but to be quite honest, I'm not bothered. It's in my brewing shed, and it's not there for looks. It's not there for glamour week. So I shall pop that in there, slide the washer down if I can. Oh, we'll have to move that somehow. Looks a bit stuck. So I shall get that in position, and obviously it'll need cutting off at the top, and I'm not sure how I'm going to secure it at the top. I'm going to get it, I'm not going to be able to get it any other way than upright, because that's a T-junction coming out that pipe, and I'll have no movement side to side. So whatever it is, it is. So that's my next job. I'm going to find a way of securing this to the top without drilling holes. Okay, so I've actually I couldn't remove that washer. I couldn't get it to move. It's obviously been compressed onto the pipe there. So what I've done is I've put another washer, just a normal copper washer, into that, and got the old on-off tap. No need for that really, but it saves me buying a new straight through connector, and if I've got any issues with leaks, I can switch it off. Yeah, cooking on gas. So now I've got to figure a way of connecting this to the top. So I guess I've got to cut that down. I don't know whether a pipe cutter will do it, a normal pipe cutter, but failing that I'll have to use a saw, I guess. Yeah, so let's think what I can use for that. It's fairly sturdy anyway, I don't think there's a problem, and it'll also enable me to take this off and give it a good clean through fairly simply. Really glad Dave sent this. Okay, so that's finished. I've tightened that in. I've gone up there, I've cut the top off, and a pipe cutter does do it, a copper pipe cutter, and the trusty old bungee, just wrapped it round once. That's not going to move. It's got a bit of spring in it, so I'm happy about that. So now I'm going to have a look at my mash tun to see what I can do. Now, it pays not to chuck anything away. Now, you know these suction things, the siphons, auto siphons, don't know about you, but they always break for me, and I always save the bits and bobs. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to utilise this tube, and I'm going to put this in the mash tun. And for the washers, because it's quite a bit smaller than the proper jobby, I'm going to put these O-rings on, and these O-rings look familiar because what they are is, if I can get the bloody thing in focus, what they are is the O-rings off the bloody, whatever they are, keg grommet thingies, you know, the keg peg things where you put your taps on. I'm bloody useless at remembering things. Any road up, what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if I can fit this pipe onto my mash tun. Okay, so that's the second one done. So basically 3 washers, keg washers, whatever they're called, bollocks, I keep forgetting, you know, the washers off the top of the kegs. Oh, for God's sake, I always have to bloody show you. Off them thingies there, off the top, these, there, that bugger there, that ring there. Oh dear. Back end of a fart all the while with you lot. Any road up, pipe straight up, I needed it fairly straight. Behind here, very sophisticated. You can get these from any plumbers merchants. You have to buy a radiator, but get a radiator knob. It's only an old one. I'm not I'm telling a few porcupines it's a bodge up job, but look, it keeps it upright. Now this little O-ring, look, this one here, that's the 4th one, and you can slide that up and down. And the idea of that is when I'm sparging, I adjust the flow of the sparge water to a trickle or whatever I want, and once I've set it how I want it, I can slide this down, up and down to the level where it's just over the grain. The liquor is just over the grain, if you like, and you can see if it goes too much or too little, too much, too little. So that's that one. So all I've got to do is test the things out. Now another thing that I've been watching on BrewTube is how to calibrate how much is in the HLT, because you know some of these Beersmith and this new software that they've got out tells you how many litres of sparge water and total litres and goodness knows what. So you normally calibrate this. Now I've seen them on YouTube putting in a what's it across the top, a spirit level, keeping it level, and I thought, yeah, that's great. However, what if my bench is a bit on the piss, you know, a little bit out? So if it's not a movable, like this isn't a movable one that you move about like a Grainfather or you know, all these other things that are on wheels and God knows what. If it's stationary, surely you're best to just leave it where it's settled and then pour in litres of water, which I've done and marked up on here. Not very clever, I know, but I suppose I could do it again, but I can't see the point at the moment because I think that'll work. Yeah, so once again, thanks very much David Carr, brilliant BrewTuber, very generous, sent me these attachments to fit on me tanks, on me HLT and me mash tun, and doing it on the boiler. I don't know how boiled beer would be. Might be okay, can't see any point really. It'd be alright for evaporation I guess, I'll have to think about that. But yeah, so yeah, I'm done. I've done an almost proper job on my mash tun. Almost done job on me. Did I say HLT or mash tun? I ain't got a bloody clue what I'm on about. Any road up, one's a bit of a bodge up, one's almost, you know, alright, but I'm sure they'll both run perfectly well. So what I'm going to do is fill them up, see if I've got any leaks. If I've got some leaks, I'll do another video and we'll be truthful, and I'll show you what I did to fix said leaks. But hopefully my bloody wasp, look, bloody things this year. Yeah, any road up, I'm going to call it a day, and I'm looking forward to a brew day with my new kit.